You are trading time for money in a system that was specifically designed so that trading time for money could never produce real wealth. That is not cynicism. That is the arithmetic. Sit with that for a second, because if it is true, and the evidence is strong that it is, then everything you have been told about working hard, earning more, and saving the difference is missing the most important part of the picture. Not wrong exactly, just incomplete in a way that keeps you on a treadmill while thinking you are making progress. Here is the thing nobody explains clearly. There are two ways to make money in the modern economy. You can sell your time, or you can own something that makes money while you sleep. Almost every person you know makes money the first way. Almost every wealthy person you have ever heard of makes money the second way. The gap between those two is not about effort. It is about structure. When you work a job, any salary, any industry, your income has a ceiling built into it. The ceiling is the number of hours in a day. You can work more hours. You can get promoted. You can switch jobs for higher pay. But at the end of every calculation, your income is hours multiplied by a rate. And hours are finite. You cannot work 2,000 hours in a single day. You cannot scale yourself. The ceiling is biological. The person who owns an asset, a business, a portfolio of stocks, a rental property, a patent, a platform, does not have that ceiling. Their asset generates returns whether they are awake or asleep, working or on vacation, healthy or sick. The asset scales in ways the human body cannot. $1 invested at a 10% annual return becomes $2 in roughly 7 years without the owner doing anything. The owner does not trade time, they trade capital. This is the structural difference. And it is not a secret. It is in every economics textbook. But it is almost never framed in terms of your actual life and what it means for where you are headed. Now look at what the tax code does with this distinction, because this is where the structure becomes policy. In the United States, if you earn a salary of $100,000, you pay income tax at ordinary rates, which can reach 22 to 24% for that bracket, plus payroll taxes, plus state taxes. Your effective total tax burden on earned income is typically somewhere between 25 and 35%, depending on where you live and your deductions. If you own stocks and sell them after holding for more than a year, you pay capital gains tax. The long-term capital gains rate for most middle-income earners is 15%. For the wealthiest Americans, it maxes out at 20%, lower than the income tax rate paid by a nurse or a teacher or an engineer. The person who makes money by owning things is taxed at a lower rate than the person who makes money by working. This is not an accident or an oversight. It is a deliberate policy choice that has been maintained and defended for decades. The justification is that capital gains taxes discourage investment. Whether that justification holds up empirically is genuinely contested among economists. What is not contested is the outcome. The tax code applies less friction to wealth-generating income than to wage income. The system is built to favor the second path over the first. Warren Buffett has said publicly that he pays a lower effective tax rate than his secretary. He was not complaining. He was describing the structure accurately. Now look at what inflation does to the salary path specifically. Your salary is denominated in dollars. Dollars lose purchasing power over time through inflation. If inflation runs at 3% annually and your salary increases by 2% annually, your real purchasing power is declining, even though your nominal salary is rising. You are making more dollars that buy less stuff. The number on your paycheck goes up. What the number can actually do goes down. Assets respond differently. Real estate prices, over long periods, tend to outpace inflation. Stock market returns, historically averaged over decades, have outpaced inflation significantly. The person on the salary path watches inflation eat their purchasing power. The person on the asset path watches their assets appreciate alongside or ahead of inflation. This is not guaranteed. Asset prices fall. Markets have bad decades. Real estate markets have crashed badly enough to wipe out owners who bought at the wrong time. The asset path carries real risk that the salary path does not. A paycheck arrives on Friday regardless of what the stock market did this week. That trade-off is real and should not be minimized. The stability of wage income is genuinely valuable, especially for people without financial cushion to absorb losses. The argument is not that everyone should immediately abandon the salary path. The argument is that the salary path alone, at any income level, is structurally limited in ways that the culture of work does not acknowledge. Here is the number that makes this concrete. The median American household income is roughly $74,000 per year. After taxes, after housing, after transportation, after food, after healthcare, after everything the modern American life requires, the average household saves something between $0 and a few $1,000s annually. Many save nothing. Some are going further into debt each year despite working full-time. A household saving $5,000 per year and investing it in a broad market index fund at historical average returns would accumulate approximately $330,000 over 30 years. That is real money. That is a meaningful retirement supplement. But it is not wealth. Wealth is the condition in which your assets generate enough income to replace your labor income entirely. At a 4% withdrawal rate, the standard rule of thumb for sustainable retirement spending, $330,000 generates $13,200 per year. That is not financial independence. That is a supplement. The households that build real wealth on salary income are the households that manage to save aggressively. 20, 30, 40% of income over long periods, which requires either an unusually high income, unusually low expenses, or both. This is possible. Some people do it, but it is not the modal outcome of the salary path. The modal outcome of the salary path is a retirement funded primarily by Social Security, with modest savings, with a standard of living lower than working life. Now look at the counter-argument directly, because it deserves full weight. The salary is not just a ceiling, it is also a floor. The business owner, the investor, the asset holder. They bear risk that the wage earner does not. The startup founder who bets their savings on a business that fails does not receive a paycheck on Friday. The real estate investor who bought in 2007 watched their net worth collapse. The freelancer who loses their biggest client has no unemployment insurance. The security of the salary path is real, and for many people, especially those without financial cushion, it is the rational choice. The advice to build assets instead of relying on salary is significantly easier to follow if you already have capital. The person earning $74,000 and spending $72,000 on necessary expenses does not have excess capital to invest. They are not failing to understand the structure. They are living inside the structure with the options the structure provides them. The gap between the insight and the implementation is itself a function of where you start. This is the honest complication. The people for whom the advice is most urgently true are often the people for whom it is most difficult to act on. Building assets requires surplus. Surplus requires income above expenses. At low income levels, the expenses of modern American life consume most or all of the income. The asset path is not equally available to everyone. What is available to everyone is the understanding. And the understanding matters even when immediate action is constrained, because the understanding changes what you look for. What jobs you consider, not just for their salary, but for their equity, their ownership stake, their profit sharing. What decisions you make at the margin, whether the raise goes to lifestyle inflation or to the first investment account. Whether the skills you build are ones that could eventually generate income outside a salary structure or only within one. The salary is not the enemy, it is the starting point. But in the modern American economy, the salary path alone. Work hard, earn more, save the difference. Produces a comfortable life for those who execute it well and a barely adequate retirement for most. It does not produce wealth. Wealth requires owning something that grows while you work, not just working while something else grows faster. The question you are left with is not about investment strategy or financial planning. It is simpler than that. The income you earn this month. How much of it is building something that will keep working after you stop? And if the answer is not much, is that because you chose it, or because nobody explained clearly that there was a choice?